So next here, I'm just going to go over the degrees to radians conversions, and then we're going to go over the radians to degrees conversion as well. So let's get started. So please note that 360 degrees is equivalent to 2 pi radians. And also please note that we're going to be converting and using the conversion factor of pi over 180. So the reason why pi over 180 is the conversion factor for converting degrees to radians is because 180 degrees is equal to pi radians. So 180 degrees on the unit circle right here also says is equivalent to pi radians. So that's what these values basically here are trying to say. All these values are converted from degrees to radians. So every value with pi is in radians. So it's pi radians in our case. So with that in mind, we're able to use the conversion factor to basically find all the radians values based on whatever degree you're trying to convert it into. So you can also think of it, everybody knows pi. Pi is the ratio of a circle's circumference, to the diameter. And if you were just draw this on this line and then you just draw the circle, it's all going to be pi radians. And also 180 degrees angle is a flat surface like this, right? So and it goes up. So that's how that is the conversion factor for this. All right, so to start with, let's go through all of these. All these values in degrees are still on the unit circle here. So, for example, 60 degrees. So to convert to radians, 60 degrees in radians would be pi over 3. How did we get that? Well, all we had to do is we had to just divide by 1. So we're each dividing each value by 1 due to it being x. And then we're multiplying it by pi over 180, our conversion factor here. After doing that, you basically just want to cross out the degree symbol. And I don't have the degree symbol here, but in real life or on a piece of paper, you'd write down the degree symbol and you just cross cancel it. So that's the reason why these are cross canceled here. So the degrees would cross cancel together, and the zeros would as well. The zeros would. And you would be left with 6 pi over 6. So why? Well, because think about it. 6 pi, right? And then you just multiply by a 3. Because 6 times 3 is 18, right? Because you'd just be left with 18 once you cross the 0 out. And then 6 times 3 being 18, we'd cross out the 6's here. And then we'd just be left with pi radians. And you leave the pi here, cross 6 out, and then you're left with pi over 3 radians. So for 90 degrees, it's the same process, right? Cross canceling out the zeros. 6 times 3 is 18, right? And then that's going to be equal to 9 over 18. But now we need to figure out, okay, what value of 9 gives you 18? Well, 9 times 2, right? So 9 times 2 is 18. So you'd cross out the 9 and the other 9, right? And then you'd be left with pi over 2. Same for 45 degrees. So 45 degrees is 45 over 1 times our conversion factor of pi over 180. And you cross these values out. But in this case, since there's no 0, we're dealing with the degree symbol. So we just cross out the degree symbols. So once we do that, cross those degree symbols out, and you'd be left with pi over 4, 4 pi over 4 radians. And you just cross the 4's out, and you get pi over 4 radians for 45 degrees. Now for 30 degrees, same process. You cross out the zeros, cross out the degrees symbol. 6 times 3 is 18. And then you cross out the 6. Actually, cross out the 3's. Sorry, this time it's flipped, unlike this one. Cross out the 3's, and you're left with pi over 6. So 30 degrees is equivalent to pi over 6 radians. Now 120 degrees, same process. Cross out the zeros, all cross cancels. And then 12, in this case, since we have 12 left here, 6 times 2 is 12. So we'd be left with 6 times 2 pi over 6 times 3, since 18 here. And then the 6's would just cross cancel, and we'd be left with the 3. And then it'd be 2 pi over 3 radians for 120 degrees. So 120 degrees is equivalent to 2 pi over 3 radians. Now 135 degrees, different because we don't have a 0 here. So we would just do 135 over 1 times our conversion factor, and then that's equal to 135. Cross cancel the degree symbol and the 1, and then you'd be left with 135 pi, right? Because we have pi here over 180, and then that's going to be equal to 3 pi over 4. So in our next one here, we have 150 degrees. Same thing, cross cancel zeros and the degree symbols. And then we're left with 5 times 3 is 15. So, and then 6 times 3 is 18. And then we just cross cancel the 3s, and we're left with 150 degrees being equivalent to 5 pi over 6 radians. 210 degrees now. 210 degrees is in radians is 7 pi over 6. Do all this, cross cancel the zeros and the degree sign, left with 21. So 7 times 3 is 21, 6 times 3 is 18, and you're left with 7 pi over 6 radians. Now 225 degrees is 225. Same process, multiply the conversion factor of pi over 180. 225 degrees over 1 times that. Cross cancel it. You're left with 225 pi over 180. And then after solving this, you get 5 pi over 4 radians. Now 240 degrees in radians is 4 pi over 3. And then you just do the same thing. Cross cancel the degrees and the zeros. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 3 is 18. So you cross out the 6's, and you're left with 4 and the 3. 4 pi over 3 radians. 270 degrees is equivalent to 3 pi over 2 radians because you do the same thing. In this case, 27. We all know that 90 times 3 is 27. So 270. 270, sorry. 270 would be 90 times 3. And then times pi over 180. And then we just do 90 times 2, which is 180. So that's the reason why. And then you just cross cancel the 90s, and you're left with 3 pi over 2 radians. Okay, so 300 degrees, to convert this into radians, that's going to be 300 over our conversion factor here. And then 300 divided by 1, cross cancel the 1, and then you're left with 300 pi over 180. And then you divide 300 by 60 here over 180. And then 180 divided by 60 is 5 pi over 3. Okay. Now 350 degrees converted into radians, it's going to be 315 divided by 1 times pi over 180. Cross cancel the 1. 315 pi over 180 is equal to 315 divided by 45. You divide that by 180, you divide that by 145 too, and then you're left with 7 pi over 4 radians for 250 degrees. 330 degrees is equivalent to 11 pi over 6, so do the same thing, cross cancel. 330 pi over 180 is equal to 330 divided by 30, divided by 180 divided by 30. You're dividing by 30 on this side again, and then 11 pi over 6. And then 0 degrees is equivalent to 0